Let me turn this down a little bit. Yeah, I think we're good. Like right there. Maybe a little bit down. Okay. So, let's get into... I guess let's start with Destiny. Mainly because, like, I don't really know how to feel about Destiny right now. I mean, when I played, it seemed okay, just gameplay wise, but at the same time, I thought they fixed the grind, but the grind is still the same. Curious what the Destiny community feels about it, because a large amount of the Destiny fan base is like done with their antics, me included. All right, let's see.
Ladies and gentlemen, to the counselor's office. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Scholars! That's right, scholars. Another day, another video about Bungie doing something really scummy. Though this is more of like an update to something that they said they were going to do, and now we kind of have a realization. Apparently, Bungie is scamming you. Bright Dust is a big contender of things that Bungie continues to roll back, as it is the only way to buy some of these, core sets that are in the Eververse store. You can buy them using Bright Dust. However, Bungie has consistently been reducing and lying and trying to make it look like they're being generous and doing things that are beneficial to the player, but they're cutting less and less to force you to buy from the store instead of being able to actually earn it by playing the game, which is the opposite of what Digital Extremes does, because they actually just let you do it the same rate you've always been able to do it. But go figure, Bungie is a scammer. They're abusive to the community, and the community lets it happen. Talking about abuse, we're reporting the news, so let's report the news on Destiny 2's favorite abuser, Lucky 10p. That's right, we've got update news for you. Let's just jump into it, shall we? We have absolute official confirmation from Lucky himself on his own community post, saying that he had essentially tried to copy strike another video. And here we have it, and that loser will make a whining video about it. And we have confirmation. Mr. Gaming Counselor did one. Was it him? Correct. And they somehow managed to dox me in 2 different ways publicly. By the way, I find it funny that people are like, he can get into legal trouble if you push it. At first, it was all about making memes and saying Bungie is shit, but this is turning into mental illness. No, you're right. It is turning into mental illness, that people are fucking retarded and don't know how the legal system works. Because if he were to ever try to take me to court, I have literally this evidence to show that he consented to me reacting to his video and his content, even if his kid's in it. He literally glazes me here. This was a month ago, by the way, a month ago. And it showcases that he was aware of it and allowed it to happen. Now, let's play devil's advocate and say that he wanted to retract that. It wasn't written in stone, by the way. It wasn't written in stone, wasn't legally binding. But let's say if he changed it, I would have not had a problem. This is not even about his kid, because the whole point of the video was reacting to, by the way, that's not his kid on the picture, by the way, just so we're clear. That's like a random GIF I found. Literally, it was meant to, I was calling out people attacking his family, and I still think it's weird, and I still would, encourage everyone to call out the bad actors who are doing that.
Yo, Cheese, how you doing? Welcome. So people in the Destiny community are attacking each other? We're all we got. Why are we making enemies of each other? What are we doing? And Lucky? This is crazy. This is crazy. I can't believe the Destiny community, at least one of the biggest Destiny streamers is like, I mean, not streamers, one of the biggest Destiny content creators is doing this. That's wild. I'm seeing videos of people trashing on the game. Look, man. One thing I can say about Destiny and Destiny 2 is that Destiny 2 was overall a better game because they gave you content that made up for how much it is. Like Destiny 1, cinema. Destiny 2, you gotta pay for the DLC to enjoy cinema, which is the Final Shape. Final Shape is probably the best thing that happened to Destiny, even though it didn't do well. It was a wonderful story. Actually had grinds that were somewhat worth it. But right now, where Destiny is, the thing is, Cheese, is that Bungie is so greedy. And they don't know how to keep their fan base. Because I'm going to be real, I left the game because the game was in a horrible state. And the grind wasn't fun. Like trying to grind for weapons or do stuff, most of the stuff in Destiny is behind a paywall, which is horrible. And the thing is, the paywall isn't something you can easily buy either. Like, most of the paywalls in Destiny are like, you gotta pay at least $80 to enjoy the game. And like right now, the reason why I even thought about downloading Destiny again and why I played it is because there were cool things that they added in the DLC, in this new DLC. And this new DLC added a lot of stuff that honestly helped Destiny in some way, shape, or form. Like, for example, they added lightsabers that are called Praxis Blades. And you could change the color of them, and they actually help, like, Titans. I'm a Titan main. And yeah, Titans are supposed to be the tanks. But, like, that one exotic helped Titans exponentially. I hope they don't mess up Halo. Well, Bungie doesn't own Halo anymore. 343 are the ones over Halo. And we do know Halo is planning something because I believe they ended support with Halo Infinite. So they have to move on to the next game. Which, by the way, I feel like they treated Halo Infinite horribly, personally. What? Yeah. Ever since Bungie was made and bought by PlayStation, 343 are the ones over Halo. I think it's called 343 Industries or something like that. Bungie just focuses on Destiny. I would say Marathon, but let's be honest, Marathon is dead upon arrival. Now, back to the video.
Attacking his kid, and just, it's weird. But what's weird is the fact that you're attacking the person trying to attack people who are attacking you. So it's really weird. It's like super weird, right? So just for clarification, if he had asked me in the comments like he did here to remove it, I would have obliged, no problem, right? Because that's not the deal is that he consented to me reacting to it a month ago by praising me and acknowledging that this video is up And because any lawyer will be like, okay, if you were against it, then why'd you comment it and act as if everything was all right and you never even reached out? He has no receipts of reaching out to me and trying to resolve any problems that he may have had. In fact, this is literally, he shot himself in the foot. But anyways, I'm going to report on this right here where he says I doxed him in 2 different ways. And the only way I can think of is that I showed his public name, which if you do who is Lucky 10P, it's literally a Google search away. You can't sue someone for public information. Who is Astacross? Wow, isn't it crazy? It doesn't pull it up. It doesn't pull Astacross information. You know why it doesn't pull it? Because he's not out there putting his fucking name out there and his brand, you dumbass. But, by the way, what is doxing? Let's just search for and publish private or identifying information about a particular individual on the internet, typically with a malicious intent. By the way, malicious intent. Reporting and calling out malicious behavior is not malicious intent, by the way. It's not, you can't, in court, that's not gonna fly. By the way, it's not private or identifying information because it's already out there. It's already, I literally.
Also, I hope you're having a good one, Cheese. Great to see you. Now, about this, he's mad at you for doxing information that was already public. How can you be mad about somebody when you put your own information out there? That's like me getting mad at people knowing my name. I mean, my mom, brother have said my name. I've even said my name on stream. You can't be mad at somebody who can pull up your info with one Google search. Having a good one. Last week of classes for real? Oh, good. Hope everything goes good with the test and everything. I remember when I was in school, I hated it. But seeing the ladies, that when I was younger, that was good.
Literally, it has already been published. It's out there. It's not like I'm out here, where does Lucky 10P live? And then I put it out there because there's how many people living in America? The chances are of me knowing or his information being out there, even though it is public, the chances that people would know that are very thin. However, when you put your name out there and you can Google search it, yeah. The other one, and I'm not going to show it, is his email, which you can go look at his channel. He literally puts it in his fucking profile. Just so we're just clear. So he can sit there and say that I doxed him. You're gonna lose that. You're not gonna win that. But anyways, that's our update. Do y'all like not understand why they worked directly with? We'll get to that in a minute. We'll talk about that in a minute. But anyways, that's just the update to our Destiny 2 abuser. That's right, our copyright abuser. Now, we're gonna talk about Bungie abusing the community. That's right. We have an update on the Bright Dust situation. We have Divide, who has done a video actually breaking down the information for us. So shout out, the link will be down to them. I don't think
You know, that is what we're there for. But you know what, before I get into this, there's something even more dangerous. Well, you know what? I don't even know if it's dangerous, but it's the number one thing I put on the title. And before we talk about how bad Destiny is right now, there's two things. First off, Trump is trying to interfere with Netflix buying Warner Brothers, and Trump is pairing with Paramount to try and win Warner Brothers. Look, you don't gotta be smart to know that Trump getting involved in anything is bad. So, and don't get me wrong, Netflix owning Warner Brothers, I don't know if it's good or bad either. Honestly, it's kind of bad, but Paramount owning anything and Trump's involved is even worse. So let's hear what's going on.
$72 billion deal to buy Warner Brothers and HBO.
Well, that's got to go through a process, and we'll see what happens. Netflix is a great company, and they've done a phenomenal job. Ted is a fantastic man. I have a lot of respect for him, but it's a lot of market share. So we'll have to see what happens.
The president did say the deal could be a, quote, problem because of the market share of the company would have if the deal goes through. Warner Brothers Discovery, of course, is CNN's parent company, and the group chat is back. Sarah, I want to go to you because the first thing everyone thought about this conversation was that Paramount and the Ellison family, and they had close ties to Trump, and therefore they were going to be the people who could win over regulators. What do you make of Trump talking kindly about Netflix?
So any of the three suitors for this asset would have gone through an investigation on the regulatory side, no question.
Because all of them would have led to massive holding.
Consolidation where they would have had more market share, sure. The key differentiator is, would Trump's DOJ sue to block one deal over another? And it was perceived that because of Ellison's relationship with Trump, they'd be more likely to sue to block the other bidders, which would be Netflix and Comcast. The challenge, though, Audie, is that even if you sue to block a deal, an independent judge is ultimately the one that's going to make the final call. So all three of these bids would have regulatory scrutiny. Why Netflix was chosen, ultimately, my sources have told me, is because their deal had clean cash and that the Warner Brothers Discovery folks thought they could actually close it. They had the money. They don't have to worry about raising from sovereign wealth funds or private equity firms. And so they felt that this particular bid was the one most likely to close.
Yeah.
And if you are a board, you need to have your shareholders' best interests. Closing the deal financially is very important, especially when all of the bids would have had regulatory scrutiny on them.
Yeah, and just to be clear, because of the way this deal is structured, it would make it so that CNN and other cable networks would spin off into their own company. Netflix would sort of absorb HBO and Warner Brothers and its big library. I bring this up because Hollywood is not happy. You hear people really upset. Actress Jane Fonda was writing, consolidation at this scale would be catastrophic for an industry built on free expression, for the creative workers who power it. It's sort of interesting response here from the different communities.
For sure, and I mean, the whole idea is, or one of the ideas, are movies going to be released in movie theaters, or is that going to be a thing of the past? I mean, is this going to become the Netflix, is Netflix watching things at home, the release going to be how it is now? I'm interested in what the president's involvement is in this. He confirmed last night that he met with the head of Netflix, which we did not know before, in the Oval Office last week. Presumably before the deal was announced or right around that time. He is very interested in all of these subjects, from movies to media to other things. So a lot of regulatory things the White House is not all that focused on. This is not a very strict regulation kind of ethos in the White House, but I think he is going to...
But the backdrop to this is the Supreme Court case over this Federal Trade Commission chair, which is literally about, can you put a loyalist in? Can you fire someone at will who's at an independent agency?
Yes, okay, so let's separate two things. On the Netflix side, President Trump can try to put his finger on the pulse all he wants. At the end of the day, if his DOJ is even directed to sue to block this for political reasons or to not block this for political reasons, it all comes down to an independent judge in court. The FTC situation is a little bit different. Basically, the Supreme Court is going to decide, does the executive branch have the power to fire the heads of what are supposed to be independent agencies? If they say he does, that is a massive shakeup for the media and technology, regulatory world writ large. Because what essentially it would indicate is that these agencies that are supposed to regulate our utilities and our companies are not actually independent. It would have far-reaching repercussions, not just for the FTC, but for other heads of departments that Trump has tried to get rid of. I think about the Copyright Office, et cetera.
Unprecedented ceremony at the Kennedy Center in Washington. For the first time ever, the president served as the on-stage host of the annual honors event. President Trump even called it the Trump Kennedy Center, joking, maybe? The president told reporters he was, quote, 98% involved in selecting this year's honorees. Kiss, Sylvester Stallone, Gloria Gaynor, Michael Crawford, and George Strait. CNN chief media analyst Brian Stelter is with us now in the Kennedy Center. Honors have never looked like this, Brian, period.
Yes, that is absolutely true. Now, this broadcast airs on CBS later in the month, closer to Christmas, but it was taped last night in front of a MAGA media-friendly crowd, and of course, groups of thousands of people, some just ordinary Washingtonians wanting to see these celebrities. But it very much reflected Trump's makeover and renovation of the Kennedy Center.
Yo, Candido, how you doing? Yeah, I won't lie, Candido. With everything going on, if Trump is getting involved and he wants Paramount to get it, I'd rather Netflix get it. Because it's like really pick your poison. And honestly, I'd rather pick the poison that's not Trump. You know? Also, what's good with you, man? How you doing?
We know he's physically
But
renovating the property, but he has also retrofitted it, in some ways taking it.
you know, there's another bad thing that's happening. And we thought, well, Netflix owning Warner Brothers is something, but apparently there's something even worse.
Yeah, because the Saudis already own EA.
Oh no.
Oh wait, did that deal fall through?
Netflix considered buying EA before Warner Brothers. Which, honestly, I think I would have preferred. I mean, it's either Netflix or Saudi. And I'll be honest, I trust Netflix more than I trust Saudi Arabia.
Because Saudi Arabia, they've already shown that they don't care about the stuff that they've taken.
Yeah, they do not care whatsoever.
They just want to own it and ruin everything.
And it kind of hurts because I'm like, Netflix, y'all should have just bought EA. I'm be real, EA is in such a bad state, anybody could buy them. But you know what? There's Ubisoft. Ubisoft sucks right now. Someone gotta buy them, because Ubisoft don't know what to do with themselves. They really don't.
It back, bringing in celebrities and stars that are reminders of how he grew up and stars that he enjoyed in the 70s and 80s, for example. He's friends with Sylvester Stallone, to name one example. So this is Trump putting his mark again on an institution, this time a cultural institution. And of course, he couldn't resist making jabs at former President Joe Biden on stage. At one point, he said, "Our country is back." They tried to get Biden to do this 4 years in a row. There's no evidence Biden would have ever hosted the Kennedy Center Honors. Normally a celebrity, normally a Hollywood actor or someone like that is up on stage. But the fact that the president was doing it, it speaks to how he wants to put on a show in so many different ways. And now it's up to CBS to edit this down, get it ready, the finished product. It airs closer to Christmas, John.
Yeah, and we saw pictures of it before. As you said, we haven't seen him on stage yet because it doesn't air for a few weeks. But we did see the red carpet, and he answered a lot of questions. Yeah. Including about a business deal that sort of is close to our hearts here. This is the Netflix Warner Brothers Discovery deal.
Yeah, and this is really important. The president's now on the record talking about what he thinks of Netflix's proposal to buy Warner Brothers and HBO. Here's what the president said on the red carpet.
Well, that's got to go through a process, and we'll see what happens. Netflix is a great company. They've done a phenomenal job. Ted is a fantastic man. I have a lot of respect for him, but it's a lot of market share. So we'll have to see what happens.
Now, this could portend a long and politically tainted process. Trump said the combined size of the two streaming players would be, could be a problem. But it's also notable that he did not expressly oppose the deal. I think in many ways, this articulates the difference between Trump 1.0 and Trump 2.0. In Trump 1.0, when Time Warner was being sold to AT&T, including Warner and HBO and CNN, Trump came out against it right away. And there was speculation for years about whether his Justice Department was meddling with the case because of Trump's personal feelings. This time around, Netflix went out and sought Trump out ahead of time. Ted Sarandos flew to the White House, met with Trump in the Oval Office to try to persuade him about the deal ahead of time. And it was notable that Trump was praising and crediting Sarandos on the red carpet last night. So Netflix playing to Trump's personal touch, right? Trying to win Trump over personally. It's notable that Trump did not completely come out against the deal, but what's most notable is that he said he will be involved in the decision. That's yet another norm-shattering moment for Trump and the Justice Department, John.
Yeah, what will that mean? We'll have to wait and see. Brian Stelter, great to see you this morning.
Okay. Well, all this confirms is Trump's definitely going to be involved, and even if his voice isn't, I mean, obviously being the president, his opinion kind of matters, quote unquote, but Netflix, don't cave in. Don't cave in. That's all I'm asking. Please don't. Don't let Trump bully you. I won't lie, Candido. The more I look at Rogue, the more I'm like, it's a 50-50 if she's a tank or not. I just hope she's not a DPS, bro. Please don't be a DPS. Please be either a healer or a tank. There's no in between. Please. 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 We don't need another DPS. We really don't. Every time I see her, bro, it's like, but when her and Emma Frost were like right next to each other, it was like, yeah, she gotta be a tank. But right here, it's like I don't know. I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Oh man,
This week, old Hollywood was folded into new with the announcement that Warner Brothers, the movie studio that a century ago added sound to film in the first talking pictures, will be purchased by Netflix, the revolutionary company that has led the streaming of entertainment directly into our homes. The consolidation of two behemoths may be good for business, but some producers and politicians are not as excited about the deal. NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Melas has more in our Sunday Focus.
Lights, camera, transaction? From its early days of shipping DVD rentals in those signature red envelopes to a company now in the spotlight for its leading role in a major blockbuster deal.
This is a rare opportunity that's going to help us achieve our mission to entertain the world and to bring people together through great stories.
Netflix announcing plans to buy Warner Brothers for nearly $83 billion, uniting the world's largest streaming service behind originals like Squid Game and K-pop Demon Hunters. With a storied TV and film studio behind classics like Rebel Without a Cause.
I thought only punks fought with knives.
Modern franchises including Harry Potter.
You're a wizard, Harry.
And the superheroes of the DC Universe.
Drop the gun.
You just take off your little mask and show us all who you really are.
In a merger that could turn the entertainment industry upside down.
We stay true to ourselves.
Netflix would also take over HBO and HBO Max, both owned by Warner Brothers Discovery and responsible for another collection of popular titles.
I am most certainly not disgruntled.
You sure about that, Larry?
Yeah, I'm sure.
If approved by federal regulators, the combination of the two Hollywood heavyweights would likely flip the script on the show business landscape, leaving many wondering about its potential impact on viewers.
We've already seen with the Skydance acquisition of Paramount, thousands of jobs eliminated, and there are two ways that companies help pay for a merger of this scale. One is by eliminating jobs, and one is by raising prices. So the first is bad news for people who work in Hollywood, and the second is potentially bad news for consumers.
While Netflix says the deal will benefit subscribers, the company also attempting to ease industry concerns that it'll prioritize streaming distribution over theatrical releases.
It's not like we have this opposition to movies in the theaters. My pushback has been mostly in the fact of the long exclusive windows, which we don't really think are that consumer friendly.
But top Hollywood associations raising concerns. The Writers Guild calling for the deal to be blocked, saying it would worsen conditions for all entertainment workers, while the Directors Guild has pledged to meet with Netflix. The merger also drawing political ire. Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren calling it an anti-monopoly nightmare, and Republican Senator Mike Lee saying the deal should send alarm to antitrust enforcers around the world. The deal now facing several regulatory hurdles before finding out if it will end up with a true Hollywood happy ending.
And Chloe joins me now live. Chloe, great to see you. Good morning. First of all, thank you for getting my curb appearance in your piece. That was the peak of my career. I appreciate that. You did mention that growing list of writers and directors, presumably actors as well, are not happy about this deal. So what are their concerns?
Willie, that's right. The Writers Guild coming out perhaps with the strongest statement against the deal, saying that Netflix is, quote, swallowing one of its biggest competitors, and that this is what antitrust laws were designed to prevent. SAG, the guild that represents actors in Hollywood, saying that this all raises many serious questions on the impact on the livelihoods and careers that depend on it. And one of the actors who is raising their voice on the issue is Jane Fonda, who called it alarming. And like I said in my piece, the Directors Guild saying that they're going to be meeting with Netflix in person to voice their concerns. The bottom line, it's clear that many in Hollywood are worried that this means with less competition, fewer jobs, lower wages, and for viewers at home, it could mean less choice and higher prices. Willie?
It is complicated, and as you also point out, there are big regulatory hurdles still ahead. Fascinating look at this story. Chloe, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show.
Okay. I was concerned already, mainly because Netflix owning all of Warner Brothers, this could be a good thing for certain cartoons, like for example, Ben 10, which the Ben 10 TV shows have been removed from most streaming media. And I think it would be a good thing for Netflix to have like all the TV shows from Cartoon Network in a place where people could watch it, which I think is a good thing because it's hard to find a place to watch Ben 10. It truly is. Now, this is a problem because movies coming in theaters, especially for all the IPs Warner Brothers owns, the Monsterverse. Hello, love over hate. How you doing? How you doing? So, the Monsterverse with Godzilla, King Kong, those movies. I'm be real. I like those movies being in theaters, and if Netflix does the dumb thing, because we know Netflix is known for doing dumb shit for no reason. They would definitely put it on Netflix, and we would see less good movies come out. But not just with the Monsterverse, but this could go for, say, Scooby Doo. They own the rights to Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. We could see a lot of horror movies be on streaming platforms instead of on the big screen, which is also an issue. Yeah, this affects theaters in general, because this is going to be a large amount of people getting fired as well. They're getting fired not because people aren't going to the movies, but because a large amount of people won't be able to watch anything in the movies because it's at home. Yeah, now we're going to be in this streaming platform issue. If Netflix decides to do the stupid thing, which, let's be honest, they're going to do it. And this affects Mortal Kombat, because Mortal Kombat has a movie coming out. We could get Freakazoid revived. We could get a lot of Cartoon Network shows revived. This is true. For me, I just want Generator X back, bro. I love Generator X from when it was first shown. Hold on, I'm just checking my messages real quick. Now, let me pull up something else. Well, I gotta pull up two things because one of these, it's kind of crazy. Now, first off, quick question for anybody in here. Hold on. Therefore, God exalted him, that at the name of Jesus every knee should bow in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of the God the Father. Philippians 2:9 through 11. Amen. Thank you for the verse of the day. I only go to theaters for big event movies. Yeah. Like Marvel movies. And a lot of people went to the theaters for Superman. Now, we need to see where this goes for James Gunn and the DCU that he wants to create. Now, this is big. This is big for a different reason. So, this is the first look at a Fortnite skin of a Lego character. If anybody has ever seen Ninjago, this is the first time we've ever seen a Lego character as a regular human being. So, this is the first look at Kai from Ninjago in the world of Fortnite with a regular outfit. And I won't lie, I like it. It's weird, but I like it. It kind of makes me think we need to get more of these. So yeah, if you want to get the skin, it will be coming on Fortnite. I won't lie, this is a good skin. It looks cool too. See, I need the other ninjas from Ninjago to get in this game. Like as a skin. That would look sick. Like I want to see Garmadon. Wonder what Garmadon would look like. But now let's really go down the lane. So let's go down the list of all of the major IPs, movies, and companies that Netflix will acquire if they buy Warner Brothers. And what this could mean for the future. Because high key, I didn't realize how much Warner Brothers really owned until I looked at the list. Friends, Oceans, Gremlin, Evil Dead, Mad Max, The Matrix, Beetlejuice, all of DC Comics, Adult Swim, Tom and Jerry, The Jetsons, Casablanca, Harry Potter, Citizen Kane, The Goonies, Scooby-Doo, Rick and Morty, Johnny Bravo, The Looney Tunes, The Hangover, The Conjuring, The Sopranos, Robot Chicken, Mortal Kombat, HBO and HBO Max, Smiling Friends, The Flintstones, The Boondocks, Adventure Time, Sex and the City, Final Destination, all of Cartoon Network, Game of Thrones, Singing in the Rain, The Powerpuff Girls, A Clockwork Orange, The Big Bang Theory, the film rights to Minecraft, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Turner Classic Movies, The Wizard of Oz original film, Dune 3 distribution rights, The Lord of the Rings film rights, every TT game made Lego game. Every single Lego game. Think about that. The distribution rights to the Monsterverse. Warner Brother Games, including TT Games, NetherRealm, and Rocksteady. You see how big of a list that is? And like Netflix has a bad track record of like trashing on legacy content. So half of these could be trashed on. What's good? Lava, how you doing? How you doing? So, Netflix acquiring Warner Brothers, it's a big step. But the thing is, we know Warner Brothers has to be bought. By the way, Lava, I'm going to be doing a TP Metal Cartel if you want to join. I'm going to need you to dap me up with some TP Cartel streams. It's time to lock in and secure the 500. Bro, I was in like 300 until I checked, and I'm like, what? How many people are playing this? But yeah, I'm legit got burnt out on Xeno. Hey, it's all good. Literally, it happens to everybody. But yeah, I was actually going to start one right after this stream, Lava, if you're down. But Candido, even the new Lego Batman game coming out too. Bro, the Lego Batman game, Netflix owns it. That's if they fully acquire Warner Brothers. But here's the more alarming thing, Candido. If they own Warner Brothers, Dark Shinobi, we're talking about the Custom 2 for that matter. Hey, I understand it. It's hard to keep playing a game like Xenoverse when there's not much content. You don't need to talk directly into the mic. See, I gotta, just to make sure you hear Dark Shinobi. It's great to see you, buddy. It's great to see you. But okay. Yeah, Lava, I'm gonna start a TP Metal Cartel after this stream. I don't know. I don't really know how to feel about Netflix owning, but it's like I'd rather Netflix own it compared to. I don't want Paramount to own this, and especially when I could hear your cells dying at that range. That's crazy. Watch the stream and talk into the mic. Okay, I need to hear that. I'm mixed. I'm happy because I love streaming movies that came out, but this is crazy. Yeah, hey, Dark. I just need to make sure you can hear me. So if I gotta get close to the mic and be like, "Hey, Dark Shinobi, it's great to see you," then I'm gonna let you know every single time with a smile on my face. Okay. I'm concerned because another thing, Candido, is that if Netflix, whoever buys Warner Brothers, also gets they get the Nemesis system. Like they get the Nemesis system, bro. Whoever owns Warner Brothers gets the Nemesis system. I'm very worried about that. I'm very worried about that because I don't want it being in the hands of someone who's dumb, you know? That's crazy. That's crazy. All right. I'm having it far away from me. Yeah, they got HBO and HBO Max as well. Now, let's hear it. Let's hear it from somebody who plays NetherRealm games. Maximilian, dude.
Guess we should just get into the meat and bones of today's topic and conversation. Biggest media news and info that has happened over the past potential year. One of the largest corporate buyouts we have witnessed. One of the largest corporate buyouts we've witnessed since the Microsoft Activision Blizzard merger. And that hasn't necessarily gone very well. WB and Netflix. Why is Max talking about this? Usually Max is a distinguished expert in the field of conglomerate economics, as well as multimedia landscape, you know? That's just what I do. Actually, I don't want to really get into any of that bullshit. We're going to discuss a few things of what it affects, but we're going to talk about how this affects fighting games, because ultimately that's what I give a shit about. And the ways that this can directly F over potential amount of future fighting games is relatively high. It's pretty freaking high, dude. Yeah, let's just get into the meat and bones of the situation. Let's read it from Big Daddy Netflix itself. I hate movie theaters. Netflix itself. Netflix, Warner Brothers Discovery. Oh, that was a good merger. That worked out very well for WB, did it not? That worked out very well. MK is about to have that Netflix money. Man, oh man, do I wish that was true. All right, so yeah, it's looking like Netflix and Warner Brothers announced they have entered into a definitive agreement under which Netflix will acquire Warner Brothers, including its film and television studios, HBO Max, and HBO. The funny thing is that WB Games, if I do Control F Games, we get no matches on that. So WB Games as a subsidiary of Warner Brothers Discovery is included in that. It's definitely there, but just to establish how important WB Games is in this merger, the extremely valuable WB Games multi-million-dollar earning subdivision of Warner Brothers Discovery. Oh man, yeah, that's going to be a huge part. And they don't even mention it. And they literally do not even mention video game stuff. Cool. Well, we're off to a good start. The cash and stock transaction valued at 227.75 share. There's a lot of words. The transaction expected to close. Previously announced separated. Blah, 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 blah. Brings together two pioneering entertainment businesses, combining Netflix's innovation, global reach, and best-in-class streaming service with Warner Brothers' century-long legacy of world-class storytelling, beloved franchises, Big Bang Theory. Damn. Dude, maybe young Sheldon can show up in Tekken. Sopranos, Game of Thrones, Wizard of Oz, yada, yada, yada. Many names, many things. Our mission has always been to entertain the world. I'm very sure that that's all true. This, I do not think is good news. Just speaking from a sense of, we have watched these happen in the past, my dude, and we have watched video game companies especially merge with other game companies. We've watched giant multimedia companies merge with other multimedia companies. What has it resulted in, chat? Has it given us way better entertainment as a result? Has it given us more convenient entertainment as a result? Has it shifted the prices of things as a result? No, everything's worse. Literally everything is worse. All you're doing is eliminating competition. More competition to be eliminated, more giant mergers to happen, more prices to go up, and everything is going to get worse. If there's one thing that has definitely cemented the end-shitification of the exchange of $50+ billion or more across the board in every single way, is that whatever you're getting is about to get worse, and it's about to cost more. And it's been a lovely thing to witness happen over and over and over and over and over again. The first big piece of news here is that this has not actually gone through yet. This needs to eventually get through a legal ramification that may or may not could pass through, which is possibly a good thing. Microsoft had to fight for, bro, how long was it? Microsoft had to fight for a year and a half in courts so that they could eventually get the legality figured out. Was it really 3 years? I don't know if it was it really 3 years? It was 2+ years. Yeah, it was a long time for them to actually go through with their agreement and exchange that much money on a global level. You can't just exchange that much money across the board. How many banks are involved and shit would just be insane, man. So how does this affect video games? Number one, the biggest tip-off is that this whole thing is happening right here. This whole thing does not mention anything about your biggest video game for the most part. Pretty much your biggest game. And even if it was, it would be mentioned as a film franchise, right? Which would ultimately make a lot of sense, right? Why do I give a shit about this? Do they even know this shit exists? right? Do they even give a shit? Do they even know Mortal Kombat is a thing? Do they even know NetherRealm is a thing outside of the film franchise, which made a lot of money? Yeah, and could potentially make more money? It definitely could. Let's just discuss the possibilities of what happens here. So, yeah, Netflix actually has a gaming division. They did have one for a while, and they were, for a little while, like a few years back, pretty serious with this stuff, man. They were kind of putting in a lot of money. Now it's ultimately boiled down to things like smaller projects, mobile games, stuff like that. And as I understand it, their games division is not completely subsided, and it is still existing in some fashion. However, for quite a while, they were building a gaming division in the exact same way that Amazon was, and Amazon had a bit more success in actually producing games and releasing them. Not a ton, but actually doing stuff, you know? Wasn't Netflix making a AAA game? They were making several. Yeah, they were building studios to create games. You know, they were building studios to make games to enter the market in some way, right? So long story short, that kind of just went away. And they realized, oh, this is too expensive, too much commitment, too much work, and it pretty much was toast. It did not lead to much. It bombed. It lost them a bunch of money. Their gaming division was effectively left with this, which is like a few mobile titles and stuff like that. So what does the merger mean for the sake of Netflix now acquires one of the bigger game studios on the planet that has already gone through a lot of shakeups over the past, let's be honest, WB Games has not exactly had a very beneficial track record for the past few years. It's been kind of rough, man. So that being said, if you're absorbing a $80 million plus merger, and now that is going to involve a whole bunch of subsidiaries and divisions that may not have the over-under that matches what the new expectations of the new higher-ups are, then I have bad news. In nearly every single situation we have seen a merger like this happens, you're toast. Where does this lead? Obviously, the fighting game news. Well, this directly affects NetherRealm Studios, right? This directly affects Mortal Kombat. I don't think it is outside. I don't think it's unjust for me to discuss. The previous merger that happened with Warner Brothers and Discovery likely had a pretty substantial impact in games in development at the time. And we kind of saw that happen throughout several releases leading up to and past that date, especially Mortal Kombat 1. MK1 was eventually, a lot of things got fixed, a lot of things didn't, but MK1 just seemed to be missing a lot of the stuff that all the previous NetherRealm games had before the merger. Almost like they did not have the budget or the time to produce a product that met the standards that they had kind of set up in place for all their previous titles. It was almost like they didn't have the time or availability, much less the budget, to do that. You kind of felt it that this game kind of needed 6 more months in the oven at least. And then we see other things like Multiverses getting a chance, but also, you know, royally screwed over because it was an extremely small game that found an extremely big audience and WB almost had no idea what to do with it. My concern with this is that we already saw a massive shakeup with MK from potentially the previous merger with WB Discovery, and this would be something even more. Not to mention when the next game ships, what it could be, what could be involved with it, the scope, the scale, the budget, like anything, it will certainly have an impact moving forward. Unless this takes a long time to go through, all the executed plans and budgets in place are still going to move forward if this takes like a couple of years for it to happen. But already speaking, it's like the things that were going down there weren't necessarily great. I have a lot of respect for people that I know that work there, right? That are not executives and shit that have to deal with this kind of stuff. And people that genuinely look at the space and they're trying to do cool things, and it is freaking hard, man. Because all we've seen is nothing but horrendous budget cuts and kind of like paltry efforts put across the board trying to save as much money as possible. What is the alternative that could happen in this situation of a Netflix WB buyout? The next biggest thing that could possibly happen is that WB Games and a lot of their franchises, in the exact same way that it happened to Midway, kind of go up for sale. And that could be a rocky situation because game rights and film rights are kind of different things. Netflix actually invests. My dude, that is not the case for Netflix gaming in the past. I understand you wanting to defend the multi-billion-dollar company here, but Netflix historically invests in certain ways that suit their profitability. And their profitability is for you to turn on a Netflix app, right? If it's hopium, then I understand. I have the hope that this will lead to a bigger budget and actual execution of a fighting game from NetherRealm where they don't have all of these corporate stipulations. Like, I really hope it leads to that. But everything in the past of all these corpos buying out everything does not result in that happening. I don't think they're suddenly going to become extremely generous, is all I'm saying, as a result of them spending $82 billion. I don't think it suddenly makes executives super generous. In fact, it quite literally does the opposite. That being said, it's my hope that whatever happens with NetherRealm in the future just continues to happen, and they release it, and it's super successful. They establish their success. The game's amazing again. Like, everyone's super happy. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. I just want myself and everyone to really be into NetherRealm Studios games again, and like, oh, we can just celebrate this shit, and it's awesome. It's like, yes, that's exactly what I think the majority of us would be into. But realistically, there's a good chance a lot of this stuff might get sold off. Then it turns into another bidding war of properties. And like I said before, that is pretty close to what happened with Midway back in the day, where they took a lot of their gaming divisions and subdivisions and properties and they just had to like splinter them out and sell them as they were going under in the late 2000s. And that's when WB bought them up, right? That's when the WB Games division was kind of first starting and going and doing their thing. So there's a chance that that could happen again. That doesn't help the current situation of them producing in mid-production of a game. WB's not going to want to lose the MKIP. You got to understand, after this, WB doesn't exist anymore, right? There's no WB. It's Netflix. There's no like, oh, what is WB going to do this? WB's not going to, they're going to want to hold on to Mortal Kombat, right? Well, Netflix might look at Mortal Kombat as specifically a film franchise to get you on their streaming site. Like, that's a very high probability. I have a lot.
This man, Makai. First off, Pirate Warriors 4 YouTuber. That's crazy. But Candido, you're right. I don't know what this means for Injustice 3, because I'm pretty sure they were already hinting at that. But if this buyout goes through, this is gonna be terrible for games. Like, a large amount of people are gonna lose their jobs, and Netflix don't know what to do with a video game. But for sure, this is really gonna hurt theaters. This is gonna hurt theaters so heavy, it's crazy. Makai, say it. How you been, brother? What's good? Wait, huh? Oh, I gotta mute that. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Dark, I clicked this link and I see friggin' Vegeta and Iron Man. Marvel Rival mods have gotten this crazy? Wait, is that Diamond Head? Yo, that's freaking Diamond Head as Groot. Oh, that's sick. What? Cell is Magneto fits, actually. Is that Toothless? Goku as Iron Fist? Broly as the Thing? It's kind of funny. Trunks is Blade? Actually, wait, is that Yugi? Yugi is Gambit? ready for the Game Awards? Yes and no. Yes. Yes, I'm interested. I'm interested to see what games they talk about, but no, because a large amount of the Game Awards are bad reveals. And there's only up to 5 good reveals at the Game Awards. Oh yeah, the untitled DC game, and we know there's another Batman game coming. The or co-op. It could be a co-op DC game, but we know there's a DC titled game coming soon, and they're already in the works with a Batman game, obviously, because that's all they know how to do. But if Netflix goes through, if this deal goes through, Netflix don't have a gaming division. With this, they could actually make a gaming division. There's no chance of Pirate Warriors 5. You know what? I'm gonna let you know this. There is a chance, but I doubt it's gonna be here. And the main reason why I'm saying there is a chance is because it's literally been long enough. And yeah, I know. Oh, the new DLC is coming. Yeah, we all know. But it's been long enough, and the most they can do is a reveal trailer. But would they reveal a new Pirate Warriors by the end of the year? This year? They can at least do a trailer. They can at least do a trailer and then reveal the release date next year or something. I'm just saying, if Netflix start gaming, they might start making anime games. Hold on. Hey, Netflix has a lot of games, animes, on their disposal. They do. DC games suck, like, it's time. Do I have to make another stream to trash DC again? They can't catch a break, bro. And it seems like James Gunn is gonna get out of there soon. They really can't catch a break. And it's all because of the higher ups at Warner Brothers. What are y'all doing? This is unbelievable.
A lot of sympathy for the people that are actually talented and actually working on games and making cool stuff, that are in the middle of all this, that are in the process of having this happen to themselves again, that were also in the wake of a ton of layoffs and stuff like that, where in the past, the previous merger, they had to get rid of a shit ton of people from several game divisions. And were those games made under the guise that they had full control over what was being produced? No, they had to make games that were under executive ownership, going to make a lot.
Friend in the industry said there's nothing really hype for the Game Awards. Another year of that, bro. We don't got nothing to be hyped about. Well, what could they reveal? I want to know what this big game that Jeff Keighley was trying to show off. And you know what? We also gotta have the discussion about stop showing games that's taking years to come out. Stop showing us games if they're not gonna come out either this year or next year. I'm done. I'm done with that, bro. In the past, that could work. Now, you got to show trailers to games that are coming out next year. And like that's it. I don't want any other. I don't want it to come out 2030 or 2047. Because that, look, we all know GTA 6 is going to take the longest. I want games that are coming out next year, bro. They'll make a live action One Piece game similar to live action Dragon Ball Evolutions. I'd kind of be okay with that. They already made a live action One Piece Lego, which first time Lego and One Piece worked together. Game Awards is Jeff's only event that will allow big trailers. But it's like, what? Even for the stuff that they do have at the awards, what could they show off that could get people's interest? Yeah, the Wonder Woman game was canceled, but here, if Netflix does win this bidding war, if Netflix does win it, then they have the possibility of doing something with any canceled IPs or canceled games. They can do whatever they want with them now. But that's only if they win it. And whoever wins Warner Brothers gets the Nemesis system, which I'm more worried about. Gosh, there's so much happening in the gaming community. GTA 6 Trailer 3, imagine. Expedition 33 needs to win Game of the Year. Literally, besides Silk Song, Expedition 33 deserves it. Marvel Rivals, the only saving grace. They might show something, maybe. I'd be okay with the trailer. Like a trailer showing off next season. I'm fine with that. Because we need to know who the next two characters are. Because I swear, if it's Deadpool and Elsa, we already know Deadpool is a DPS. Elsa gotta be a tank. Because seeing her abilities, she would make sense as a tank.
A lot of money, you know? Does NRS get sold off or something? It could. Like, it definitely could. All I gotta say is that I don't look at this as good news at all. This isn't stuff that I normally discuss a ton. We discussed it a couple of times with the other ones that actually affect video games and stuff like that actually affect, like, the making of games. There's a very good chance that the last time I saw this happen was with Microsoft, obviously, and when that took place, the probability of it getting a Killer Instinct game made in the past, in those years after it happened, probably went down to nearly nothing after the merger happened. That being said, yeah, I'm not particularly looking forward to where this could go in the future. I'll be tracking it. I'll be paying attention to it. We'll be talking about it. If they have something that happens down the line where they discussed a eventual like reveal of what the games division is going to be doing, what their plans are with them, if they're going to be reevaluating it, like any of that kind of stuff, then yeah, we'll pop back in here and talk about it. But I am explicitly concerned for the future of fighting games, them being made, because as much as like, yeah, I get it. A lot of the past previous NRS games haven't done it for me as much. MK1 did it the most for me outside of Mortal Kombat X, but I think the chance of them producing new things leaves on the table a chance of something that makes everybody happy. And we have seen that happen within their design philosophy several times, where we can get a game that is just as hype and super exciting that gets everyone super happy. Like, that can happen. I want that, dude. I want forever fighting games to come out, and I like seeing companies invest into that shit. So it makes me super happy. This does not make me super happy. And I'm ultimately very concerned as a result of all of this bullshit going down. And this, we're not even talking about the film industry, the entertainment industry as a whole. This could be extremely detrimental for all that shit, man. Imagine the amount of jobs that are about to be lost because of this shit. It is going to be insane.
That's what it would sound like if I was being drained by a Dementor. Also, just now realized that this is pretty zoomed in. You weren't meant to see Charles that up close and personal. Netflix just bought Warner Bros. 82.7 billion clams. That is disastrous. I think it's terrible. You saw the news as well? That's right. Netflix now owns Warner Bros. Can you believe that shit? I know. That was the last thing I was expecting to. What are you celebrating for? No, this is bad. Hey, you're preaching to the choir. I'm not excited about it either. Yeah, well, your sister seems to think it's not that big a deal. You tell her, not me. Had a long discussion on stream about it. We are entering the era where a few companies will own literally everything. And some people are actually welcoming it with open arms and open cheeks, trying to preach about like why it's actually good for consumers for monopolies to exist, which is crazy that we've reached this point. But there is so much corporate cocksucking now, it's become like very common, that people will actually argue against their own interests here in the market. Now we are seeing this happen in pretty much every sector, where some of the giants, the Goliaths in the industries, will buy up some of the other behemoths. So that way they become one absolute mega corporation which owns so much of it. So it makes it a less competitive space, which means there is less incentive for these companies to listen to consumers and make quality products because you're not going anywhere anyway. They have everything. It's a bad deal for your average Joe Schmo because the companies will be financially butt-fucking you with no remorse because what are you going to do about it? They have all of the other products. Like, it's bad. The only rare exception, the only unicorn in this objective truth is Steam, which I just made a whole video on, where Steam does have a de facto monopoly on PC gaming. It just has so much of the market on PC gaming. But it's not because it ever, like, performed any monopolistic tactics or anything like that. It got that position because it is literally just the best at what it does. All of the other options, all of the competitors are just significantly shittier, scummier, and a worse deal for consumers, so people willingly just choose Steam. Even though there is competition, most people flock to Steam because it is just the actual best. But on the whole, monopolies are very bad for you and me and everybody else. Now, in the case of Netflix specifically, I am shocked anyone is pumping their fist about it. That makes no sense to me, considering the quality of Netflix originals is so all over the place, but I would argue mainly bad. Like, you will get fucking 5 seasons of Big Mouth, irredeemable trash, coupled with a lot of other Netflix originals you've probably never heard of, for every one good show that they put out. Like, you are mostly getting fed fucking poop ass. And yet, now Netflix will have even more IPs to deliver that level of stink with. It's not good, really. Like, there's nothing to really look forward to there, unless Netflix has a huge come-to-Jesus moment and a huge shift in priorities, where instead of, like, trying to fart out as much trash as they can muster from their colon, they instead focus on, like, using these IPs for quality projects, but I don't see that happening. I don't think Netflix is a buyer that anyone should have any real optimism for all of the crazy amount of IP Warner Bros. Has under their umbrella, which Netflix now has unlimited access to. Warner Bros., of course, I mean, they're no stranger to trash. They have been in a bad spot for many years now. They have been producing a lot of garbage too. So it's not to say like Warner Bros. Is ruined. They've done a fine job of that themselves with how much trash they've had recently. But Netflix, I don't think is going to make it any better. Like, I don't think they're going to steer the ship more effectively or anything. Like, it sucks. And it's just a sign of the times where now we are going to continue to see giants buying up other giants, so that everything will be owned by a couple of corporations in each sector, which is bad. Like, that is a horrible thing, really. But anyway, let me show you some of the stream clips of me yapping about it, because I was really getting into the spaghetti and the meatballs of it. You think Netflix buying Warner Bros. Is a good or bad move? Oh, I hate it. I super hate it. But this is the way the world is going, where a couple of companies are going to own everything in sectors. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. An $82.7 billion acquisition. I also think this is now well, not the first, but the largest step in the death of movie theaters. Obviously, with Netflix owning Warner Bros., the movies are going to be hitting Netflix. I can't imagine they're going to be investing heavily into like a theater experience. So I think movie theaters are probably going to start being phased out over the next decade or so. Which makes me pretty upset because I really like the movie theater experience. But it's just never going to be able to compete with the convenience of seeing the new movies from your own home. Everyone's going to choose that now anyway, especially with Netflix going to most likely be putting all the Warner Bros. Releases on streaming instead of in theaters. So I struggle to think of any positives. Chatter that mentioned that now Netflix owns the Nemesis system, which is a video game patent that Warner Bros. Had fucking keegled for the last like decade and done nothing with. The Nemesis system is from Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor. Really, really fun gameplay mechanics. Love it. People have been wanting it for years. Warner Bros. Does nothing with it. Netflix owning it means it'll probably never see the light of day, because Netflix just canned their entire gaming division only like a year ago. So you're not ever going to see the Nemesis system and anything gaming adjacent that Warner Bros. Has had. They probably won't be doing anything with, would be my guess. It's such a shame. Yeah, everything becoming Netflix original is bleak. To be fair, we were never going to see it anyway. I know. Like, I'm not stupid enough to think that if Warner Bros. Stayed out of Netflix's paws, we'd somehow get a game with the Nemesis system. They had just canceled the Wonder Woman one anyway. I know. They're 100% still going to do Mortal Kombat, but that's probably it. I think definitely Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat's not going anywhere. I think there's going to be a handful of legacy IP that Netflix will absolutely still produce. Because they print money. Like Mortal Kombat. Even like the more weak entries into the franchise is still an absolute cash cow. Netflix is definitely going to keep pumping Mortal Kombat games. And Warner Bros. Has so many juggernaut IP that I have to imagine Netflix will keep pumping. Like they have the gaming rights to Harry Potter. They have like the DC gaming rights as well, if I remember correctly. So they're going to keep pumping those. 100%. They're buying WB Games as well. It's everything Warner Bros., right? From what I was reading, they own literally everything Warner Bros. Owns, unless I've got incorrect information. It's an $82.7 billion acquisition. I'm so fucking excited. It must be kind of cool living life with that mentality. Like, oh, I watch Witcher on Netflix. I like that. And now Netflix owns Warner Bros. I get to watch everything there too now? Yippee! That's gotta be so cool. To just be able to do that. Please, Netflix, make a new season for Young Justice. Yeah, I'm sure Netflix will be able to make some quality products. Now, don't get me wrong. I have poo-pooed on Warner Bros. For a long time. Zaslav is a fucking moron. That guy is an actual homunculus. And Warner Bros. Have been spiraling for a minute. But you're crazy if you're trying to convince yourself that Netflix is somehow going to steer the ship better. But I'd love to be wrong. I would love if Netflix proved me wrong. I'll tell you that much. I would be very excited if they actually did good things with everything Warner Bros. Has. Honestly, Netflix monopoly means everything in one place. That just makes me sick to read. Oh my god. That actually just makes me sick to read. Oh, fuck me. Yuck. Netflix $79.99 a month with ads. At least it's all in one place, though. Will HBO and Netflix merge? My guess would be no. I would think with this acquisition, they will continue to have HBO Max as a separate entity from Big Brother Netflix. That would be my guess. Because they get to have their cake and eat it too. Because maybe an HBO Max subscriber isn't a Netflix subscriber. I don't know why they would even take the chance of like trying to combine forces there. Keep them separate. You get the double dip. Leading rumor is that Netflix is going to give Warner Bros. A 2-week theatrical release for all their movies before they hit streaming. Oh my god. And today, Netflix CEO said release windows will evolve to be shorter, so the rumor is likely true. Let me see that. I didn't see that statement from the Netflix CEO. 2-week theater run. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Ted says Netflix committed to Warner Bros. Theatrical releasing as Cinema Trade Group calls merger unprecedented threat. We've released about 30 films into theaters this year, so it's not like we have this opposition to movies in theaters. My pushback has been mostly in the fact of the long exclusive windows, which we don't really think are that consumer friendly. He said, AMC and other chains are looking to reestablish a 30 or 45-day window to energize movie-going that dwindled during COVID. Biggest chains often won't run Netflix films with truncated windows. The entertainment community and movie theaters in particular have been immensely jittery at this corporate combination given the streamer's short window, if any, as they cater to their...
What's up, Zach? Hello, hello. So, Capcom, just to talk about this, Capcom is going to revitalize Mega Man, Ace Attorney, and Devil May Cry with new projects. Please, do something with the IPs you don't do anything with. Capcom. Sengoku Basara, there's so many that you own that you don't do anything with. Please, do something. How you doing, Zach? What's good with you? We're talking about Netflix versus Paramount, and currently we're seeing how bad it would be if Netflix buys it, but at the same time, if Paramount buys it, it would be bad too. Oh, yeah, bro. Movie scores are about to be an all-time low, too. GG. Hey, I'm glad you GG, man. I'm pretty GG right now.
Streaming
I'm tired.
content. Exhibition's biggest trade group, Cinema United, came out with a blunt statement this morning opposing the merger, saying, the proposed acquisition of Warner Bros. By Netflix poses an unprecedented threat to the global exhibition business. I mean, he's not wrong. The negative impact of this acquisition will impact theaters from the biggest circuits to one-screen independents in small towns in the United States and around the world. Cinema United stands ready to support industry changes that lead to increased movie production and give consumers more opportunities to enjoy a day at the local theater, but Netflix's stated business model does not support theatrical exhibition. In fact, it's the opposite. Regulators must look closely at the specifics of this proposed transaction and understand the negative impact it will have on consumers, exhibition, and the entertainment industry. Yep, so, okay, looks like they will be putting them in theaters for a very short period of time. Then to streaming. Do we know if they own Cartoon Network Studios, and Adult Swim, or does Discovery own it? I've seen tweets saying confusing things regarding it. Again, as I understand it, they own everything that was under the Warner Bros. Umbrella, so that includes things like Cartoon Network and shit like that. Again, that's just what I was reading. I could be wrong. It's all pretty fresh. I did read, though, that they might not have all the cable assets. And if that's the case, then they wouldn't have Cartoon Network, I don't think. But again, it's still a little too fresh. Not entirely sure. Shows on them might get canceled. I'm going to tell you something. The shows on Cartoon Network are probably safer outside of the clutches of Zaslav. That man had been axing shows left and right. Cartoons, it was just a matter of time before that shit was thrown in the trash. That man was cutting shit left and right, front and center, day and night. So, there's plenty of problems you can point out. That is not really one of them. That guy had an absolute hate boner for anything animated. I'll tell you, anything animated is probably safer outside of his hands. What if they bring back Courage? I would fucking hate if Netflix brought back Courage. That shit would be so awful. I have no faith in Netflix, of all people, to make Courage, a new Courage that is still faithful to the vibe and the heart of the original. They'd have the big mouth animators work on it. Oh! God, even just the thought of that. You saw Paramount is planning to do a hostile takeover bid for Warner Bros. Because I think their deal is better than Netflix. No, is Paramount trying to fight? They hopping in the Thunderdome to buy Warner Bros? Let me see. Oh yeah, 5 hours ago. Paramount could go hostile for Warner Bros. Discovery after losing to Netflix. What's their strategy? Just put more money on top? Paramount was bested by Netflix on Friday in its efforts to buy Warner Bros. Discovery, but it may still appeal directly to Warner Bros. Shareholders through a hostile takeover offer. Why it matters. Paramount could argue that its all-cash bid of $30 a share is better in terms of both price and likelihood of regulatory approvals, although it would need to disclose more information about its debt financing. Both Netflix and Warner Bros. Discovery executives are confident they'll receive the necessary sign-offs for their deal. We've signed our deal, and we are running full speed towards regulatory approval, Netflix CEO Ted said. Netflix only agreed to buy Warner Bros. Studio and streaming assets for a combination of cash and stock after cable networks are spun out in a separate company. Paramount's offer was for the entire business. Okay, so this is confirmed then. So then Netflix is not getting their cable assets. A source close to Paramount said the company, which didn't have visibility into Netflix's offer until Friday morning, legitimately thinks it made the best bid and is currently exploring next steps. An operative word is patience. Fringe. Paramount also thinks its offer could look even better when the Comcast cable network spinoff begins trading later this month. It would serve as a market comparison to Warner Bros. Discovery stub that Netflix will leave behind. Paramount's lawyers have questioned the fairness and adequacy of the sale process, which kicked off after Paramount already had submitted 3 unsolicited offers. In a letter to the board, Paramount said the auction was tainted by management conflicts, including certain members of management's potential personal interests in post-transaction roles and compensation as a result of the economic incentives embedded in recent amendments to employment arrangements. That just sounds like fucking gobbledygook from Sore Loser there. It underscored concerns of board director bias towards a Netflix bid without considering heightened regulatory risk and potential value of a full bid versus a partial asset bid. That's a who cares moment, I would say, if you're on like the Netflix board, if you're more biased, or if you're on the Warner Bros. Board, if you're more biased towards Netflix, I guess. Not illegal to prefer Netflix over Paramount. Unless there is some kind of like legality to it, which I would be surprised. Worth mentioning, Paramount received help from Saudi Arabia for their bid. What? No! That's impossible. No matter who wins this bid, we all lose. Yeah, I know, that's what we were talking about. It's not a good thing.
That's really where we're at. Regardless of who wins this, we all suffer. And that sucks. That sucks to know. Netflix hasn't made console games. Jeff Keighley. No good can come from seeing his name. Lara Croft coming to Fortnite. Whoa, Zach, I don't know about that. It's bad enough Disney owns Star Wars. Disney owning all of Warner Brothers? Sounds horrifying. I won't lie. If it's between those 3, I'd rather Netflix own it. Even though it's going to be soulless stuff, Disney That would give Disney way too much power. Dark. Lara Croft in Fortnite. It's really going downhill, brother. Now, Dark, hopefully this means we get a Lara Croft game instead of Lara Croft and Fortnite, because, like, please, just give us a game. Disney already got too much power. Bro, they do. Disney has way too much power. But giving them all of Warner Brothers, that would mean Disney would own Godzilla, King Kong, Cartoon Network. Jeez, no. Last thing I want is for Disney to own Ben 10.
Before I continue,
okay. Well, Fortnite really wants everything. I mean, at this point, Fortnite, anything could be added to that. Now, it's time to get into one of the biggest problems of Destiny 2, which is Bright Dust. And they're constantly growing paywall. Here we go.
here's the Bright Dust gains comparison on screen. Let that sink in.
Oh my god, this hurts. We used to get way more in 2020. Like, and that's mainly because they were more focused on giving back to the community at that time. Yeah, that's facts. What's good, Bull? God. Dang, this hurts. This really hurts. They were so generous back then. Because that's the amount we would need to use Bright Dust. Because you didn't need to spend money on Bright Dust. Now you need to spend money on Bright Dust. You could just... In the past, you could just play a couple matches and you'd get enough. Now, you gotta spend money.
Basically, 5 years ago you could get up to 86,400 Bright Dust over a 6-month period had you completed every weekly bounty every week that offered Bright Dust, not including events or other sources like repeatable bounties that you could grind infinitely. Now in 2025, you can grind up to 49,200 Bright Dust, almost half the amount in the same time frame, but for more effort. Let me clarify by more effort. By this, I mean you can get the first 19,200 Bright Dust from the weekly seasonal track by doing the weekly challenges and finishing the reward track each week. Might take a few hours or less if you're fast, but you gotta do this every week. The other 24,000 is dependent on you grinding common and legendary orders for up to a cap of 1,000 Bright Dust per week. But this total calculation is assuming that you do this every single week for 6 months. Not much effort, you can do it in Cherokee, but it's boring AF. But the last 6,000 is purely RNG, determined by getting exotic orders for up to 6,000 Bright Dust cap per season. I haven't got a single one yet, and you need 30 of them. If you were specifically a Bright Dust farmer, your best, most efficient method would be the 2020 version. It's simple, it's basic, and it's easy. Bear in mind that there were methods back then for farming the repeatable bounties infinitely for Bright Dust, as much as you wanted. Now you can only farm the legendary or exotic orders for 10 or 30 Bright Dust after the cap is reached, which, let's be real, you're unlikely to get more than a few hundred Bright Dust doing that per week, even if you do spend a lot of time grinding. The majority of the player base will not even get a 10th of this Bright Dust by the end of the season. That's my take, your opinion is your opinion, but this system for getting Bright Dust is disgustingly bad. Don't mistake me though for the actual system overall, because the orders system is actually really good. It's just a way of getting Bright Dust isn't. I wanted to talk about this topic because I saw a post today from ePhotographer over on Reddit titled "Bungie reduced Bright Dust gains, once again, no challenges, and only 3 weekly portal objectives, granting only 50 Bright Dust each," and he goes on to say, "I'm asking the community, how much are we willing to take? Expansion after expansion, they cripple our Bright Dust gains, for what reason?" Well, the reason is simple, it's greed and a manipulative strategy to diminish your Bright Dust, so you eventually spend real money in the store with silver. He goes on to say that with the Edge of Fate, they removed Pathfinder, with Renegades they removed challenges, they reduced the amount gained from weekly objectives to 50, as well as the objectives from 5 to 3, and removed bounties. Are we really supposed to grind for Bright Dust 10 at a time from Portal, from active orders? We used to be able to farm for this currency. What happened? Just remove it altogether, why don't you? And he's not wrong, the fact is true that we are getting less Bright Dust every expansion for a longer recurring season. As this user pointed out, back in the day we used to get 3,600 Bright Dust per week. They removed that, then added seasonal challenges to give us Bright Dust, but season by season that Bright Dust you got diminished over time without you really realising. Years later, we're now sat here getting a total of 800 per week from this track if we're looking at this the simple way, based on a weekly objective formula, since back in the day farming 10 Bright Dust bounties was a thing you could do infinitely, whereas now you can't do that. There's a limit. It's just such a shame to see where we've come to what we're getting now. The point is, they're lowering Bright Dust gains very slowly over time to make you think that what we're getting the next expansion is only a small adjustment that doesn't matter. But truth be told is that over a 6-month period now, you get almost half of what you could get 5 years ago, and the Eververse prices have only inflated since then too. It's scummy and pathetic, what do you all think?
Man, that actually just made me sad. All that stuff, they made the grind even worse. And for what? There was literally no reason to do that. If Orange Man thinks it's a good idea, it's a horrible idea. That's facts. Hey, anything is better than Paramount with Trump's support. Look. Anything with Trump, no bueno. This is the man who just gave us tariffs that are raising prices on everything. You think we want him to also be like, yeah, you should let Paramount? Nah. What good has Paramount done with any of their IPs they own? Nothing good. Now, Netflix, don't get me wrong, Netflix owning Warner Brothers, it's still a bad decision. But what are we going to do? Video game-wise, this is about to suck so bad. I'd rather play Marvel Midnight Suns than Destiny 2 now. Yeah. I deleted Destiny 2. Mainly because I needed more space. But God, man, it's Jover. It's like for real over, man. Oh, man. And the Game Awards, man, what do we have that's exciting for the Game Awards? The only thing I want to see is Expedition 33 as Game of the Year. That's all I care about. Oh, you know what? Speaking of which, hold on. I gotta check on that stream because there's no way. Okay, y'all got it to 8 likes. Okay, God. As long as that Destiny stream does not get 20 likes, I'm good, bro. Like it's slowly getting close. The new DLC should drop this month. For Destiny, or somewhere other game. Bungie went from kings to beggars, bleeding Destiny 2. And it's like, they didn't even need to do much to fix the game. They just needed to listen. Oh, for Pirate Warriors 4? Yeah. So we should be getting the next DLC very soon. The hope is that this next DLC, this one has to have replayable content. Because we're having a whole character from Skypiea and a whole movie character. So really, we should have more replayable content. And they should actually put in more effort into this. Because look, NL, putting NL in a One Piece game as a DLC, I'm gonna be honest, there's a lot of people that's gonna buy NL. King. And there's a good amount of Z fans. That's the unfortunate part, Makai. Because if that's the case, then this DLC is gonna sell well, but nobody is gonna play the game like that. Yeah, the game needs more replayability. We barely have 4-player missions. Like that's the main thing I feel like we need. Also, I see that Destiny 2 players are switching to Warframe because Warframe actually gave stuff that benefited the players. Like, for example, I believe Warframe fixed their grinding stuff and other things. I see them getting a calm 6 figures in terms of copies. I see that. They're gonna stretch the fuck out of Pirate Warriors 4 until we get 5, no doubt. You think there's gonna be another DLC after this? You know, I hate to say it, but I do feel like they'll give us another DLC. But I'm gonna be real, in this next DLC, if there's no 4-player missions and stuff, nobody's gonna be interested. Like, here's the thing. People like me will probably get it to cover it. And I know you're saying, oh, the Pirate Warriors guy, that guy, he's gonna support it. I'll be real, I like the game, but they gotta add more content. Because you can only support something for so long until it needs to fix itself, you know? Now, if they just decide that they're gonna treat Pirate Warriors 4 as their Xenoverse cash cow, see, I would be all for it if it just had better content. 4-player missions, an updated story. Heck, all the DLC characters should be NPCs that you fight. We need a CAC open world Naruto Explorato game. I'm be real. Your CAC game is Shinobi Strikers. And unfortunately, that's it. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand the idea. But Shinobi Strikers is all we got. And high key, if they decide to make a Shinobi Strikers 2, which I think would be a better idea because they could go the Xenoverse 2 route. Like, if they go the Xenoverse 2 route and actually give us an actual story mode, then maybe. But right now, Shinobi Strikers is all Naruto got. Mainly because they gave up on Storm. And like, for One Piece, all we got is Pirate Warriors. We got so many mobile games. Bounty Rush doing good. One Piece Fighting Path doing good. And also, Pirate Warriors like, unironically, Pirate Warriors stretches Muso to the highest degree. Because they have a different way of balancing characters and everything in the game. And high key, I think other Musos can learn from from Pirate Warriors. Because Pirate Warriors does a lot of things, like the interesting build crafting is very good. They do a lot of interesting things compared to other Musos. Like, for example, I now want 4-player missions in other Muso games. I would love 4-player in other Musos. Pay to win gacha game out there. That's facts. That's very facts. And consistent. That's very true. If we're being honest, each of the big three would go crazy with a Warriors game. Naruto would, because I'll be real, at this point, Naruto fans just won a game. That's not Shinobi Strikers. Which, sorry, bud, is all I have to say. Bleach would do good with a Warriors game. Will people not like it? The thing is, people love to complain about Warriors games. They love to. But at the same time, if they're fun to play, they won't complain. It happens every single time. A Bounty Rush Pirate Warriors 4 Capture the Flag game mode. I mean, that could be good. I know a lot of people would say it would defeat the purpose of a Muso, but I personally feel like they could make it work, especially since it's 4 players. So you could do 4v4. But, you know, there's problems that come from that. Fairy Tail? Bro, why hasn't Fairy Tail done a Warriors game? I don't know about y'all, but it's been pissing me off. Like, y'all could be going crazy with a Fairy Tail Warriors game. But for some reason, they just don't want to do it. And gave Fairy Tail a turn-based game. Give them a Warriors game. Fairy Tail would go crazy as a Warriors game. I'd play it. Okay, now, next thing. It's time to talk about Pokemon.
Thank you to my Asbantium level patrons, Chris Douglas and Fallon Cortez. Thank you for supporting the channel. Pokemon. Ever since it
I will be right back.
1996, this name has become more famous and at times infamous than any other Japanese export, and even any other big cross-media franchise. It's a simple premise. Catch monsters, battle them, become the very best. What began as a normal RPG game has become a sprawling media empire with more video games, TV, movies, manga, and now more than ever, a trading card game.
New card. What do you think?
If there's a medium, it has Pokemon. I mean, hell, you can't even sleep without Pokemon anymore. Nothing is sacred. As a franchise, Pokemon is bigger than ever. And not necessarily for the best reasons sometimes. Because the trading cards have become such a craze and status symbol that people will literally kill over them. So naturally, I play the quick and easy digital Pokemon collecting game, so I don't have to spend any money or cleave a 10-year-old's head in half just to pull a card where Manaphy is bathing in its own piss. But after years away from the franchise, playing Pokemon Pocket has made me think a lot. Between pulling cards of Centaur Palkia and a literal cheese string, I had a bit of a realization. What happened to the game I love? Why is it that I haven't touched a mainline Pokemon game in 15 years? Sure, it can't be down to the Pokemon getting goofier because, I mean, the literal first generation had a Pokeball with a face as a Pokemon, and then it evolved into an upside-down Pokeball with a face. Wow, what creative design! But this general unfamiliarity made me think of what Pokemon is to me. It's a world I've known all my life. It was there before I was born, just about, and possibly will still be thriving even after I die, because it's just that eternal. Pokemon is a series that has a magnetic pull to generations of people because it's almost timeless. Much like its titular Pokemon, the franchise is constantly changing and evolving. It will always have an appeal to people at all sorts of ages. But despite Pokemon now being on the verge of its 30th anniversary, I don't think it's the same as it once was. The games were once the centerpiece of this series, the reason it became what it was. But now, the traditional Pokemon games are on the fringes, almost like an afterthought compared to...
Okay, let me know. Anybody who cares about Pokemon, how do y'all feel about the new Pokemon games compared to the old ones? Because I won't lie, I miss the sprite Pokemon games. I miss that. Personally. A Fairy Tale alternate timeline CSC game would also work. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yes, I remember Rave Master. That was made by the same person who made Fairy Tale. And what was it? Eden Zero? I liked Eden Zero. Yeah, I know. Fairy Tale would definitely work as a Dynasty game. I already read that before I left.
To the rampant merchandising machine and vast other media platforms. And I think the truth is, it's not nostalgia, old Pokemon simply was better. I still remember that Christmas morning all those years ago in 2005. A present for my parents, one for my brother and one for me. Inside, a Game Boy Advance SP, mine blue, his red. And along with it, inside a small square box with a fascinatingly strange green monster, Pokemon Emerald Edition. As a 6-year-old boy, I had obviously been caught up in the Pokemon craze, even long after its initial explosion in the 90s. I had some cards, I watched the anime, but with this little green cartridge, everything changed. Inside such a small screen was a whole world of adventure. So many places to explore, people to meet, enemies to outsmart, and Master Balls to waste on Linoon. Hey, I only said I had to outsmart the enemies. I never claimed I was smart myself. And in my defense, that Linoon was a real pain to catch. I feel like there's an understanding that you always remember your first Pokemon game. And for me, that's very true. I still haven't forgotten Toby the Sceptile or Money the Swellow, who helped me overcome the Elite Four alongside that Linoon, my Tank Golem, Ludicolo, and lastly, Blaziken. Courtesy of a brother and a cousin both older than me, who knew you could just manipulate the save system at the start of the game or just get eggs and trade the other 2 starters before, you just have all 3. When you're that young, it helps to know people a bit older that actually know what they're doing. Pokemon Emerald is the perfect Pokemon game. It takes everything Game Freak learned from Red and Blue, Gold and Silver and Crystal, and refines it into the ideal experience. Let's just look at the Hoenn region alone. Kanto and Johto are pretty limited in scope, due to the obvious technical limitations of the original Game Boy and the Game Boy Color. The former console only had an 8-bit processor. Then the Game Boy Advance came along with 32 bits, that's so many bits. So naturally, Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire and Emerald show a significant upgrade in size, fidelity and mechanical depth because they can do so much more. The movement is buttery smooth, the colours really pop, and as a map, it feels huge. And no, I don't mean huge in the sense that 8-year-old me thought the trip from Lumbridge to Wizard Tower was long and treacherous. No, Hoenn is actually so expansive and a genuinely diverse country. You start off in your typical quaint village of Littleroot. Old Daletown is much the same, Petalburg City is a nice picturesque settlement, but these 3 locations are the most basic, in what is classic Pokemon game design. You start off small and simple, humble origins, but then you get to Rustboro City and that all changes. This city is equivalent to Saffron City, and it's the first gym you even go to. A huge statement of intent. What follows is Dewford Town, a small waterfront settlement. Slateport City, a huge port city with a sprawling beach, a prime holiday destination. And the best part is, you're essentially stuck here, without being able to just surf back to Dewford because you don't have surf yet. The early game of Hoenn forces you to move in a linear direction, of which you can then open up significant shortcuts like Rusturf Tunnel, or being able to surf between Oldale and Moorville, or using the cable car. It's not like you finish one location and just move on to the next. You're constantly travelling new routes to familiar places, ready to take on new challenges, like your own father as a gym leader in the middle of the game, despite his gym being the very first you come across literally, not the first you can battle in, but the first you walk past. Hoenn is a genuine odyssey. By unlocking all these alternate routes, it immerses you all the more. Kanto and Johto staples like forests and caves give way to more elaborate setting, like a volcano surrounded by 3 distinct towns, all bearing the hallmarks of such settlements, like hot springs or ashen grass that turns green when you walk through it. See that? See that level of detail? A good Pokemon game isn't just about having a big map. It's about that map feeling twice the size because of the detail within. Moorville, the bustling electrical city, gives way to Fortree, a magnificent treetop city in the jungle. And contrasting that are places like Sutopolis, nestled within a cavernous white crater, and Pacifidlog Town, built entirely on planks in the ocean. Each location is so interesting and distinct. And that's before you even factor in the non-settlement locations, like a whole desert, that aforementioned volcano, and a whole mountain graveyard. Or the long stretches of routes featuring things like the Weather Institute and the abandoned ship. It's not just about going from town to town beating gym leaders anymore. You're genuinely going on the kind of adventure the anime promised years before. The side content is incredible. You can grow berries, build secret bases as a cool little hidey hole to hang out in.
It was your cool little hidey hole to hang out in. I f***ing hate that line.
Make Pokeblocks with friends, compete in contests, battle the Trick House, and the Winstrait family, whose golden boy Vito eventually shows up in Victory Road at the end of the game, and is actually one of the only Victory Road trainers capable of beating the Elite Four. Again, that is fantastic world building. And one of my favourite things about Hoenn is how you can get calls from trainers and gym leaders you've already beaten, and they'll challenge you again, with better teams, more Pokemon in their teams, some of whom aren't even native to Hoenn. It creates this genuine feeling of progression and development as you progress. Roxanne goes from an entry-level trio of 2 level 12 Geodudes and a level 15 Nosepass to a full 6 Pokemon team of Aerodactyl, Omastar, Kabutops, Steelix, and her Nosepass is now level 52, whilst her Geodude has become a Golem. All these Pokemon make perfect sense for Roxanne to acquire, since they still match her rock-based speciality, and her gym is literally across the road from Devoncourt, who resurrect the very fossils she clearly came into possession of. Much like Fire Red and Leaf Green with the Sevi Islands specifically, the region changes slightly as you progress and go on, rewarding you for returning to characters and locations to get rewards or new locations and lore about this incredible region. Hoenn feels like a proper, living, breathing world, and the story helps with that significantly. The stories of Kanto and Johto were pretty straightforward, but with the extra space and the abilities of the GBA, Hoenn can be more complex story-wise too. You find yourself embroiled within the clash of 2 eco-terrorist factions, Team Aqua and Team Magma, who each want to awaken ancient beasts to shape the world in the way they wish. It's not exactly Breaking Bad complexity, but it's more than enough to give you extra reason to want to progress through this vast and imaginative region, and a great way of incorporating the legendary Pokemon, rather than them just hanging out in caves. No, these guys are hibernating in caves, and waking them up brings about the end of the world. And you can't even do anything about it. You have to go and get a giant green dragon to go and sort out his bickering little bros because he just wants to sleep. After you have activated Kyogre and Groudon, the weather across the whole map changes, and it's chaotic, with NPCs acknowledging the chaos, until you go and get Rayquaza to fix everything. And then, sure, you can go and catch Rayquaza before the Elite Four, but you can't get all 3 until you've already beaten the group. So rocking back up with a full trio is more like a victory lap than a quick route to success. The progression of Emerald is very steady and fair. Not because the Elite Four are especially difficult, but because in Emerald, the Elite Four is far from the end of the story. Once they're done, you have Latias or Latios to catch, the aforementioned capture of the main 2 legendaries, you get the national decks allowing you to trade with other Gen 3 games outside of Hoenn, you can take on Trainer Hill, the final boss of the game Steven Stone, and, of course, the Battle Frontier.
Frankly, I'm still amazed we ever made it through the first hour. Never mind the first day.
One of the most important things in Pokemon is the post-game. After all, your journey to catch them all
Okay. Eden Zero is good. Yeah, it is. I need to get a little bit more caught up because I've been slowly catching up with some anime. The old ones are a million times better. My first was the Game Boy Color Pokemon Red and Blue. My first was Emerald. I like how the new Pokemon is getting slowly closer to the anime style battle style with the newer 3D games, but OG pixel art is also good after fixing the old bugs like Ghost not being super effective against Psychic. Yeah. I don't know. I'm 50-50 about the 3D one because don't get me wrong, the 3D one was pretty okay. But I do feel like as time progresses and you know, consoles are getting stronger, we deserve better looking Pokemon games. The exception is Pikachu and Eevee version, but they were remakes, yeah. Don't have it anymore to make good Pokemon games? Yeah, they don't care. They truly do not care. Oh, so this is an Xbox game? Well, you missed me with that. Well, Candido, I don't know what he's showing off, but hey, you got a new game coming for Xbox. Hmm. Don't really know how to feel about that. OG Pokemon Yellow? Hmm. Was that good? I don't think I played that. They see people will buy them anyway. Oh yeah. They're cheap. Most fans of Nintendo are sheep and they will buy it. Especially the content creators.
and be the best like no one ever was shouldn't just end with beating the champion. There's got to be something else to make it all worth it, so you can actually use all these skills you've learned and prove yourself as the undisputed best whilst still training up your Pokemon to be as high level as you can. And Emerald provides that all with the Battle Frontier, a huge post-game add-on which really tests your abilities with 7 brutal challenges that take more time to fully complete than the actual main game itself. From Slateport or Lily Cove, you can take the SS Tidal itself with high-level trainers to battle, all the way to a mysterious island which is revealed as the Battle Frontier. 7 facilities: factory, arena, dome, pike, palace, pyramid, and tower. Only the absolute best and most skilled trainers can even visit this place, which is owned by Scott, an NPC you meet throughout the game in each city. Again, progression and world building, look at that go. I won't lie, as a 6 and 7-year-old, the Battle Frontier was a step too far for me. I mean, when it came to battling, I was just all about raw power. I never knew about or did EV training, and nature to me was just stuff like trees, not something relevant to Pokemon battles. And why use some pointless pathetic move like Sunny Day when I can just spam Flamethrower over and over? Safe to say, I never did well at the Battle Frontier, outside of getting lucky once or twice in Pike, and obviously doing decently at the Battle Tower, but neither of these I managed to complete consistently enough to even actually get the emblems you get for beating them enough times. And that's part of why this area is objectively good even beyond childhood nostalgia. It's a genuine challenge that ages timelessly. Sure, it's very grindy with some of those win conditions, but it pushes you to think about proper battling techniques. In the Battle Factory, you have to rent out Pokemon all at a specific level cap, so you have to genuinely pay attention to things like nature and actually use stat boosting moves because they make all the difference. There is no player advantage like anywhere else in the game where you can just level your Pokemon up to a ludicrous amount and then just sweep everything. Each of these buildings has a gimmick like this, pushing your abilities and forcing you to approach battling in very different ways. You can't just brute force it like I did in most Pokemon games before and after it. It essentially replicates real competitive play, and that makes it such a fascinating, in-depth, and sustainable post-game challenge. I could, of course, keep going and talk about things like the music and all the Easter eggs and the sense of awe and wonder that was lost after Emerald once everything became so online. But I have glazed this wonderful game plenty so far. It came out 20 years ago. How could it possibly be that much better than everything that came after it? After all, there's all sorts of technical console upgrades, more Pokemon added, bigger maps, more immersive camera angles and environments. And sure, Gen 4 is also fantastic. Sinnoh is another wonderful region with great characters and a great usage of the dual screens of the DS, with all sorts of bottom screen shenanigans and tools. There's global trading over Wi-Fi, which is huge. It has a good range of legendaries, the Battle Zone, a bigger and more expansive equivalent of the Frontier from Emerald, although it focuses more on being a sub-region with exploration and story content than a long-term repetitive challenge like the Frontier. There's the Underground, which is a neat idea, albeit not achieving its full potential. There's a day-night cycle, which is absolutely huge, and of course Gen 5 has seasons. I only ever played Pearl, I never played Platinum, but Platinum is a hugely advanced...
Okay, let me see this. Wonder what it could be. It's probably like an RPG game. You played basically Season 1 Ash from the anime? Yeah. Yellow was basically the red and blue. But you're going through Ash's journey. Oh, that's pretty cool. I also wish Legends Arceus game link cable item would have been a permanent feature for those that don't got friends or money for a second Switch. Unfortunately, not Netflix. Nintendo doesn't care about you like that. Because it's Nintendo. They're adding Gene, Cable, and Spider-Ham to Marvel Snap. Is Marvel Snap good, Dark? Never played it. Oh yeah, what's this? Wait, that does look like the Game Awards statue. Why does that look like the Game Awards statue, though? Coincidence? I think not. Okay, what time is it? Yeah, I see it's time. Okay, y'all. I'm gonna have to end the stream and then start a Xenoverse stream. So, thank you all. Hope you all have a good rest of your day or night, whatever time zone. I will be back on Xenoverse in a few. So just be on the lookout. I will see you all later. Peace.